Hello, hello, hi everyone. Welcome back to Recruitment in the Spotlight. I'm Lasana Pakeman, the recruitment coordinator for Cal-JAC, which is the California Firefighter Joint Apprenticeship Committee. And today we're here with none other than the important and the best Ontario Fire Department. All right, well, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So we'll get into some introductions, and so we'll start out with Fire Chief Geik, Fire Chief Geik.
Yep.
All right.
Hi, my name is Ray Geik. I'm the Fire Chief in Ontario Fire Department, and coming up on my, I think, 29th year as a professional firefighter.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I guess that means you definitely know what you're talking about, huh?
Definitely means I'm old. That's for sure.
No way. All right. And so next we have Deputy Chief, and this is Chief Waddell.
Yes. Good afternoon. Mike Waddell, Deputy Chief with the Ontario Fire Department, and I have completed 21 years in the fire service.
21 years?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. And so next we have Engineer Neil Gamboa.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. Neil Gamboa. I'm a newly promoted engineer with the City of Ontario. I have 25 years of fire service time.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more.
Okay. And congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And next we have Engineer Eric Zaragoza.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Eric Zaragoza. I'm an engineer with the City of Ontario Fire Department. Been with the department roughly 5.5 years, 7 years total in the fire service.
Okay, awesome. You got to count the half, the 5.5, 7 years total.
It counts. It counts.
Right, it really does. It definitely does. So Chief Waddell, can you tell us a bit about Ontario, maybe about the city and just where it's located? And so we have folks watching from up and down the state. So where's Ontario located?
Sure. All right. Well, beautiful Ontario is located in beautiful Southern California. In the Inland Empire. We're in San Bernardino County. It is approximately an hour east of LA. City of Ontario is approximately 50 square miles, and our motto is a balanced community. And so what that means is we provide in the City of Ontario, you're going to find everything from single-family residence to large malls. We have an arena, we have a convention center, we have an international airport, we do manufacturing, we do large concrete warehouse storage. So there's a little bit of everything, and that's provides a nice balance to a community.
Okay, all right. So lots going on in Ontario.
It's an exciting, fun place.
Okay, so we're in the City of Ontario, or we are in Sacramento right now, but you guys are located in Ontario, and so you all work for the fire service, the fire department at Ontario. How did you get into the fire service? How did you guys become firefighters? And I would love to start with you.
Oh, you know, it's interesting. All our lives have several layers. So I think the challenge is how do I deliver that message that kind of inspires, encourages others to chase that dream. And for me, professionally and personally, I think three things kind of surround me is chance, self-development, and someone believing me and giving me a shot. So I have 25 years in the fire service. I worked for another agency for almost 20 years. And the opportunity for me to expand and get new knowledge was presented with me with Ontario. And I seeked out that opportunity, took that chance. And when I mentioned someone believing me and giving me a shot, I was in an interview with Chief Geik. And he nodded his head when I said, I just need that opportunity. And he gave me a thumbs up, and here I am today.
Wow. Wow. Well, cheers to that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been good.
Most definitely, most definitely. And so anybody else, what are your stories of getting into the fire service and becoming a firefighter?
I guess I could touch on mine a little bit. For me, you know, like a lot of people, I never knew anybody in the fire service. And so I was, you know, going to college, didn't really know what I wanted to do in life. Was kind of out there searching, and I was literally on a bicycle riding my bike and just getting some exercise, and I ran across Station 48 in Marina Valley, and there was an engineer out there just kind of spraying the front apron down, and I just pulled over and started talking to him, and he started talking to me, and again, like I said, I never even knew a firefighter until then, and he invited me to come in and become a volunteer firefighter. And so I think a couple days later, I went to a meeting, and that was my first look at what firefighting was. I went through the training process, and next thing you know, I knew what I wanted to do. It was kind of neat because one minute I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do, and the next minute, literally a couple days later, I got hooked and I knew exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really beautiful not having a background at all, not knowing anything about the fire service. You meet this firefighter, they just kind of walk you, and I think they give you a tour, right?
Yeah, he didn't even give me that. He just said, hey, we have a meeting coming up on Tuesday night. I don't even think I was invited to the fire station yet, but the first time I saw inside of a fire station was literally a couple days later, and that's how I started my career and never looked back.
Very cool. Very, very cool. How about you, Eric?
So my dad was a police officer growing up, so I kind of always had that figure of public service in the house. But I always enjoyed the aspect of becoming a firefighter, and I had some heavily influential people in my life throughout high school and throughout college that kind of led me in that direction. So after I graduated college, I started pursuing it, and thankfully blessed with a career in the fire service.
Yeah, good stuff. And how about you, Chief Waddell?
As I look back, I think similar to Eric, I think my pathway in was probably viewed as somewhat traditional with a little bit of a spin. At my time, I was pursuing college as well. So through high school, I was very driven and focused on playing baseball and going to college because of it. And that's really where I was headed. I was headed down an architecture degree. That's where I thought I wanted to go, pursuing that career. But I quickly, as high school was wrapping up, I was quickly realizing where architecture as a career was headed. And what that really meant is it was very computer-based and office-bound. And that really, I didn't like the sound of that. I liked the good old outdoors, and I was a busybody, and that's truly what I wanted in my career. And so that I quickly pivoted and started looking to the fire service. So for my college years, I was kind of doing a little bit of a dual pathway, kept it nice and busy for me. I was attending college while pursuing the fire service at nights and weekends and that sort of thing. So I got involved in the Explorer Post and EMT at nights and pursuing that. Took a break from college, took a leave of absence, went to the fire academy, went back to college, finished up that bachelor's degree, and then got into the fire service.
So you were busy.
It was a busy couple of years, but never looked back. So glad I did it.
Right. And so this didn't come up earlier when we spoke, but since you mentioned baseball for whatever reason this time, Red Sox fan. Is that going to mess up this whole?
Pretty diehard Dodger fan. Born and raised Dodger fan.
All right, fine. I guess we'll continue. Oh, man. And so just hearing you guys' stories and things like that, I think is really, really interesting. Is there any advice or what's one thing you wish you knew before getting into the fire service?
I think I could probably touch on that a little bit. Again, not having a clue, I literally never even talked to a firefighter before then. And for me, I was always, my dad was a union worker, and all my uncles came from the unions, and they just said, hey, you got to get a good union job, and that's kind of what my direction was. And so that's really what my goal was to just get a good union job that I can go work and or a career. And I really didn't realize getting into the fire service that it's more than a job, it's more than a career, it's more of a lifestyle. And I had no idea that going into the fire service, it's really a lifestyle. And that's something that you sign up for when you get into the fire service. It's a lot more than just coming to work, doing your thing, and going home. After a while, you become part of a family, away from your own family. And interestingly enough, your family becomes part of that as well, because there's times you're not going to be there for Christmas. There's times you're not going to be there for a birthday party or whatever. So sometimes Christmas is at the fire station, and so on and so forth, right? So you get to know each other's families very well. It becomes part of your life, and that's something I had no idea. Again, not having any background in the fire service coming in, and that's I think that's a really unique aspect of the fire service that I certainly didn't know.
For sure, for sure. Getting adopted into that family, becoming part of this family.
Absolutely.
So to that point, what would you say to someone who really wants to pursue the fire service? Maybe culturally it's not part of their culture. Their culture maybe looks down on the fire service or public service in general. How would you encourage them to kind of continue pursuing this dream?
Yeah, it's interesting. There are certain cultures out there that look at a job in the fire service that it's a, I've heard a blue collar type of job. And there's aspects to firefighting, when the alarm goes off, there is that I'm going to get hot and sweaty and work with my hands and work with physical type of labor. But there's a lot of parts of the fire service today that are much more than that. And, a lot of the people that are coming in today, they either, have their college degrees or they aspire later on to get their college degrees. And when you look at the pay and benefits that firefighters have and the ability to work overtime, go on these wildland fires and so on and so forth, if you look at it from being able to support your family aspect, it's incredible. If it very easily rivals some of those other professions that are out there that people think are high-paying jobs and so on and so forth. I would say that firefighting today rivals that, and it's one of those things that you can, when you leave the fire the fire service or the day you work, you're proud of what you did for that day.
Yeah.
You had an opportunity to change someone's life or help them, and it's an incredible career that you get to be. Sometimes you get to touch someone's life in a different way. And again, but if you look back at the benefits and the pay and those types of things, it's definitely competitive, I would say, with some of those more white-collar jobs, if that's what you want to call it. So.
Okay. All right. Okay. So definitely able to be gainfully employed, make a nice situation for you and your family.
Yep.
All right.
That's for sure.
Beautiful. So with that, we would like to know if you have any questions, and so we want you to go ahead and put those in the chat. If you do, if you've already been putting them in the chat, we want to check in and see if you have any questions. And just before we do that, we want to make sure that you like and subscribe, that you follow us on each of our platforms. We're at Becoming AFF, stands for Firefighter, so at Becoming AFF. We want to make sure that you're following us on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook. You can find us on each of those platforms. And so we do want to check in. So do we have any questions from folks in the audience?
I do. Thank you, Lasana. One of our first questions is from someone who just recently got their medic out of state. They're originally from Riverside, and they just aren't sure on really where to start the process when they return home. Do you guys have any suggestions on that?
Sure, I guess I'll try to answer that, guys. Yeah, I think that I certainly hope that that isn't viewed as discouraging by any means. We certainly would encourage you, if that is your goal, to return back home to Southern California, by all means, do it. There's going to be somewhat of a transition, and I don't know if I'm going to do it justice with all the details in regards to how to go about the process of getting that paramedic certification valid and accredited in the Southern California area. But I know that there is a process both within the state as well as wherever you land within the state in your particular region. So in our area, in the Inland Empire, that's the ISEMA region, and there's an accreditation process that you would have to go through to be able to work as a paramedic in our area.
Yeah, I would definitely start off with looking. There's a lot of programs out there that are nationally accredited, nationally licensed as paramedics. So you got to look at reciprocity, those types of things. But starting off with the state EMS agency is a great place to start, and then that's at the state level. And then you're going to probably look at Chief Waddell's point. Where do you want to work? And that's going to be a local. They call it a LEMSA in California, but that's where you want to look at what are the local accreditation or licensing requirements.
All right, let's get to a couple more questions. We'll take about 2 more before we jump into the next part.
Awesome, thank you. Then I'm going to make this a 2-part question. So Nolan from our Instagram stories would like to know, are there any Fire Explorer programs available? And then kind of to piggyback off of that, let me see. We're getting a lot of questions right now. Thank you guys. Keep those coming in. Adam from YouTube would like to know, would being a reserve firefighter somewhere else, for example, at a municipal airport, help start a career? So just kind of that whole pre-thing, being an explorer, what do you guys have to offer, and how does that help out even if it's not through you guys?
We do have an Explorer program. They do meet Thursdays at our training center at Station 3, and there are some requirements within that. I believe the age range is 15 to 19, maintaining a 2.0 GPA, and being of good moral character. You do have to go through an interview process, a physical agility test, in order to be a part of the Explorers, but it's a great opportunity for you to kind of immerse yourself in the culture, you can say, of what we do. You learn basic skills of a firefighter, and also have the opportunity to do ride-alongs, which is a great way to learn what we do day in and day out.
All right, so you can definitely get dialed in. All right, Courtney, do we have a couple more?
Thank you. Yeah, our next question is from Chance from YouTube. Chance recently received their associates in fire science, and they were wondering if they should pursue a bachelor's while they wait for an academy to open up.
That's a good question.
Sure, I'll take that. My quick answer would be yes. At the end of the day, the fire service, certainly Ontario Fire Department, we are looking for diversity of all different sorts and types, and so education is part of that, and we want you to continue to pursue education in as far as you're interested in going. So if you're starting with that undergrad associate's degree, continue to pursue that bachelor's degree if that's something you're interested in. We certainly see value in that because we see the benefits throughout your career. It goes the same with work as well, work experience. We want to see varying levels of work experience because there's a lot of different careers or professions or jobs early in life that you'll be able to take those skill sets from that experience and bring those to our fire department, and we'll capitalize on that. So definitely look for varying levels of opportunities that present themselves. Education, we're lifelong learners, I can tell you that in the fire service. All of us continue to receive education day in and day out, frankly.
All right, so with that, we will come back to more questions in the chat. And we also want you to know that we'll do our very best to get as many questions answered live as possible. We are also in the chat answering some of your questions. So don't feel discouraged or anything like that if we don't get to your question right away or just right now. Hang tight, we're here, we have lots of information for you. We want to make sure that we have enough time to share it all. Okay, so thank you so much for that. We do have a video that we would like to play for you, and so this was taken by our very own Firestar Studios, and so we would like to show you this video. It's Ontario's recruitment video, so let's take a look.
Medic 131, Medic 132, Medic 133, Medic 135, Truck 131, Truck 138, Commercial Fire.
I love my job because when I come through those doors in the morning, I don't know what kind of challenges I'm gonna face.
People call 911 because it's probably one of the worst days that they've ever gone through. To go out there and make up difference is really rewarding.
I have the best job in the world. They let me drive a rig like this, which is unbelievable to me. I still can't believe it sometimes.
The Ontario Fire Department's a destination fire department. What do I mean by destination fire department? When you come here, you don't leave.
We're a mid-sized department that is big enough to provide opportunities to work in different types of first-ins. We're small enough for you to know who you're working with each and every day on a personal basis.
To me, Ontario is an amazing place to work. We're constantly striving to better the department, move forward, be innovative.
The organization is growing, so there's a lot of opportunity working with the city, working with the department, it's truly a career.
This department has given me the skills and the abilities. It's given me the equipment, the tools, and it's also made it financially secure that I could raise a family.
The Ontario Fire Department is an all-risk fire department. When you think of a firefighter, you probably think of them fighting fires, running EMS calls. But we also run high-stress calls, high-risk calls that involve a lot more equipment, a lot more personnel.
We run approximately 23,000 calls a year. We have 10 fire stations. One of those fire stations is at the airport. We have 4 people on each engine company and truck companies.
Up to 80% of our calls are medical-related calls. We have 2 paramedics on every engine. As my job as a paramedic, I have the opportunity to provide advanced life support services, and then every other firefighter is an EMT, and we work together as a team.
With the City of Ontario, the journey is endless. You start obviously as an entry-level firefighter. Once you are successful in that role, there's specialty teams.
So whatever you find your passion to be in the fire service, there's an avenue for you here, whether it's the airport, it's heavy rescue, hazmat. We're one of the few departments in the country that has their own bomb squad.
Urban Search and Rescue is a specialty team comprised of about 24 members. We train in different aspects of high-risk, low-frequency rescue situations.
For the active shooter situations, there are SWAT medics. They're trained, they go to all different types of schools. They get attached with our local police, Ontario Police Department.
Everything that the firefighters go out and do every single day has to be supported by our fire administration.
I knew I didn't want to run into burning buildings or be on those medical calls. I saw that there was other things, not just firefighter. There's the people you need to help prevent the fires. There's the people you need to ensure codes are being met.
There's nothing better than having someone on the other line. They're calling their worst time of their life at that moment, and just to hear a sigh of relief or a thank you at the end of the call because you helped them.
As EMS director, I love the fact that I can take care of the firefighters and paramedics on one hand, and I can ensure that they're taking care of the patients or the citizens on the other.
We typically, on a daily basis, get into work, do our morning briefings, talk.
Our workout time is considered from 7 to 9 in the morning. Guys can do whatever they want. They want to work out here, do a little bit of circuit training.
We are performing station maintenance, station cleanup. We're training. We need to keep our skill sets fresh, ready to go. So we take those opportunities to train and train often.
I look forward to coming to work to see my brothers and sisters, whoever may be here at the day.
Whether it's fire administration to captains and firefighters and engineers on the floor, it feels like one big family.
We really enjoy each other. We help cook. We clean up together and we assemble to recognize the end of our workday.
For the Ontario Fire Department, we just want individuals that are going to have great attitudes, they're going to work hard, being a team player.
Multitask, somebody that has that customer service.
When they call 911, they expect a professional. They expect somebody with honesty and integrity.
We also look for people that are compassionate and also passionate about what they do. A good servant leader.
Doing the right thing the right way at the right time. No shortcuts, then you belong here.
I love being an Ontario firefighter. You can't beat the backdrop here with the mountains, and the city has everything from malls to convention centers to sports arenas, and our city is 100% supportive of the fire service.
This department is amazing. They have so much to offer. We have very nice equipment here.
We are growing like crazy. Coming out to our department, you are going to be welcomed with open arms.
The potential for adding another couple, 2-3 stations at our department, and to be part of that.
Knowing that you have backup from the union, backup from the management, and all decisions that have been made collaboratively together. I think it just makes for a fantastic place to start your career.
People come here, they stay, and for good reason, because we take care of our people, we take care of each other, and we make this place an awesome place to work.
Destination department. Love that. I heard someone in the video say, I have the best job. I have the best job ever. Debatable though. I mean, I really like what I get to
do. Your job's more stressful than
No. But incredible video, and even some of what you talked about earlier, just in terms of like not only the department but just the city. Just kind of being in that environment and having all of that. Incredible.
Yeah. I use the terms career fulfilling. You know, when I look at, you know, over my 20 some odd year career, it's just there's constant challenges that are just, you know, you look forward to overcoming. Just new, different, you know, perspectives of a fire service career. It's not just one dimension. And that's the beauty of what I believe the City of Ontario provides from a career fulfillment.
Okay, so career fulfillment, it's not just one dimension. Can we shoot to you? What are some of the specialties and opportunities that are available at Ontario Fire?
Yeah, so I think that video does a phenomenal job of showing the specialty teams that we do have. We have SWAT paramedics, we have a bomb squad, urban search and rescue, hazmat, and a hazardous materials team. Aside from that, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that keeps our department flowing on the day-to-day. We are a mid-sized department, and I feel we take pride in making sure that the stuff that we have is very nice, well-maintained, and that we're knowledgeable on it. So we do have certain teams and collateral jobs like a small tools team that can work on any chainsaw, rotary saw, or anything with a small engine to make sure that those are maintained and stayed in service for us to use. We have an SCBA repair team. Those breathing apparatuses need to get tested on a yearly basis to make sure that we stay safe. Aside from that, we're taking on a huge thing with the new academy coming up. We are putting on an academy, and we are currently in the process, or the department is, of choosing a cadre to teach those new recruits that are coming in, and that's a huge, huge undertaking, and it's a good thing for us. There's a lot of things that you may not see in the video, kind of behind the scenes, that keep us flowing through that day to day.
It just seems like there's so much that your department has to offer. It seems like there's no way we could fit all of that into one video. It would have been way too much. But since you mentioned, you said small tools team. Is that what it is? So I've attended a girls' camp or a women's boot camp or things like that in the past, and trying to start a chainsaw, do you have any tips? Is it in the elbow, or where
pull hard, pull fast, and get to work.
Jeez. Okay, pull hard, pull fast, and get to work. Maybe it was number 3 I was missing.
I think one interesting point on that is that when we do the interviews, and this is something that we've looked at a long time, is that one unique part about Ontario Fire Department is everyone has to go through probation, and that's really what we want you to focus on your first year, is getting and being very successful through that first year. But after that, it's kind of the doors are open to do what you want to do. And quite frankly, when we interview people, we look for people that have, you know, some skills that they're going to be able to bring to the fire department. That's not necessarily just related to fighting fires, right? When you're doing, you know, building, you know, or working on small engines, that's a skill set. It's also a skill set to have some IT background. It's also some skill set to have the ability to, you know, work on social media or do those different types of things. So we try to do a lot of things in-house because we think there's a tremendous value to that. And there's a lot of opportunities once you get off probation to kind of go do some of those skills for us at the Ontario Fire Department. So we have a lot of special teams and all of those things, but there's a tremendous amount of opportunities when you get off probation to really look at some of the things that you can bring back to the department.
And the synergy here is really, really good because I feel like you were just talking about that earlier too, in terms of like having a degree and that skill set and just the life experience of being able to apply those skills to the job. Talk to us a bit about the future of Ontario Fire, where you guys are headed and how exciting that is.
Yeah, well, it is just that. It's extremely exciting. I would say the future of Ontario and certainly the fire department is bright. So as I look back a little bit, because it has been exciting for the past 5+ years as well, we've gone through a large growth phase. So we've acquired the airport, which led to a fire station. That was a big undertaking. If you look back at our city and our fire department 10+ years ago, that was not ours to operate. So that was a big addition to our fire department, extremely exciting, rewarding, yet challenging, because we had to, you know, learn all about our airport rescue firefighting. So that was a change that we did 5 years ago. And then we've grown another station down south, so our Station 9. So we've developed 2 stations in the past 5 years. That's big growth. Both 24 new personnel, so that's 48 suppression personnel that we added to the department. So that's big growth for an organization of our size. Now in the future, we're just looking at that continuing. So we're in the process of hiring for our Station 11. That's again going to be a 2-piece house, an engine and a truck company, which is again another 24 personnel on the suppression side. Look even beyond that, we got another couple coming, and that's for sure. That the south end of our city is just continuing to develop and evolve and change. What used to be an agricultural farming type part of our city is now developing out much more typical to what many of us think of the city of Ontario. So there's a large portion of it which is going to be housing, both in like single family residence, but then you're having some of the more compact, townhome condo type living. And then there's a big portion of that area that is continuing to develop and grow from a warehousing and large commercial side as well. So those are at least 2 more stations, if not 3, in the foreseeable future. So plenty of growth and potential, and that's exciting for all of us.
So nothing but expansion.
That's kind of that's kind of part of my job right now. We've kind of settled on where Station 11 is going to be. The way that transition is going to happen is we're doing a temporary fire station, so we can bring the people that are coming in as laterals right now and as our recruits. So that'll fill up that station. But then we also have to build a permanent station. So that'll come in a couple of years after that. And that's kind of what we do is we try to put together a temporary fire station because our city's growing so fast that we're not exactly sure how this thing's going to play out in the next 10 or 15 years. So one of the strategies we've used is using a temporary fire station for a couple of years, and then as we build a permanent location. And that's kind of what we're working on right now. And I'm working with the City of Ontario right now to get land for Station 12 and Station 13. So I'm kind of looking out, 5, 6 years, 7 years from now, but that's where we're going.
Okay, all right. So everyone's smiling. It's good vibes here, people. It really is. So, okay, so lots of opportunities within the department for all types of specialties, for you to acquire skills, develop skills, and all of that. Lots of expansion as far as the department is concerned, as well as just the city itself. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. The city is... it's a city that's, really from the late 1800s is when it was established. So we have what's called an old model colony and a new model colony. And really, at the end of the day, it's just the city of Ontario. We've had one part of our city that's been developed and another part of the city that hasn't been fully developed yet. So we're really emulsifying those 2, parts, but we're one big city. But where it's really is exciting is our city council and our city manager and our city staff and everyone's so supportive of us as a city and as a whole, that I think the city council and the city manager have a great vision of where they want to take the city of Ontario. From expanding down south, there's going to be a grand park that's going to be a state-of-the-art sports complex and opportunities for people to live, work, and play in the city of Ontario. There's not a lot of cities that are our size that have a sports arena that you can go watch world-class, performances and sporting events, to a convention center, to an airport. So our city has a lot of things that other bigger cities have, but it's run a little bit differently. We try to run our city like a business. And one of those examples is, looking in the past, is that when we had a downturn in the economy, our city had the forethought to look ahead and prepare for that. And we didn't lay off a single person in the city, even in one of the worst recessions that we saw during our time. That's so beautiful. They do think of things out 10, 15, 20 years. And it's a very exciting time during right now, because things are just blowing up. Our businesses in the city opportunities to come in and live in the city of Ontario are just really expanding, and it's really exciting. And with that expansion is public safety. You're going to need more police officers, more firefighters, and so on and so forth. So it's an exciting time to be in Ontario.
Sounds like there might be a great migration to Ontario. Is that
We're
what you're
hoping.
setting it up for?
We're hoping, yeah.
Man, all right. Well, we would love to get back to the chat. We want to know what questions you have. So let's go ahead and take a few more questions from you.
Thanks, Lasana. You guys are definitely getting our viewers really excited to work for you guys. I'm starting to have some second thoughts on my career choices. Ontario is looking really exciting. Could you explain some of the requirements for being hired? Do they need to have a firefighter 1, EMT, paramedic? Do they need to be on the FCTC statewide eligibility list? An age minimum? If you could kind of go over those things, please.
Well, yeah, sure. I think starting off, minimum age 18. High school diploma or equivalent. Currently, you do not have to have a fire academy because we're going to be hosting that ourselves. There are some other things that are desirable. Having your EMT, being a paramedic, being associated with the FTCT program. And I see, I don't know, what else am I missing?
CPR and first aid for the first responder.
Okay.
And I think that's just the entry level bare bones to get your foot into the door for our program.
Okay. I thought I heard one of you also say lateral. You also hire laterals, or was that?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure, I'll take it. So we've done through the years, and as of just a couple months ago, we look for opportunities to hire entry-level firefighters as well as the possibility of hiring lateral firefighters.
Okay.
And we see it as beneficial from the standpoint of gaining some experience into our organization. Folks that have substantial years on at other fire organizations, they bring all of that experience to our organization, and then we can then further capitalize on that. And so we just see it as a good balance to our organization as we continue to grow, to bring in kind of both groups. This entry level, oftentimes with no experience at all, and we're very comfortable with that. We look forward to that because we see the value that they bring to the table, and that's not always from a fire service background. That can be from all different walks of life and all sorts of different careers and trades, and we bring that knowledge to our organization and fully capitalize it. I think Chief Geik and Engineer Zaragoza spoke to all the different programs that we enjoy and want to continue to support and have them thrive. And the only way we can do that is if we get folks into the organization that come with a little bit of a background and a skill set that we can put into play.
Okay.
So,
okay. And so also to add to that, you had mentioned FCTC. So to make sure that you are on the statewide eligibility list with FCTC, the Firefighter Candidate Testing Center, you'll want to make sure that you have your written test, that you have a 70% or higher, that you've passed your CPAT. You can go to any of our CPAT centers throughout the state to go ahead and take that test. You also want to make sure that you're 18 or older, have your high school diploma or GED, and just that you have all of that information. So then you can go ahead and make sure you're on the statewide eligibility list so that you can be considered by Ontario. All right. So Courtney, did you have one more?
No, I did not. I'm ready for the next question.
All right. Let's hear it, Courtney.
Thank you. So we have a few people who are 18 and 19 in the chat. You mentioned that 18 is the minimum age, but they just kind of want to know, is it okay if they've only had a job in EMS so far? Do they need to have a paramedic, or if they've just completed their EMT, will you still see them as an asset or a liability because of their young age and a little bit less experience potentially?
That's a good question.
Touch on that one? I think, we don't broadly say, hey, we would rather have this type of person or that type of person. It's really individually based. And the way that we set up our interview process for the Ontario Fire Department is we really want to get to know the person rather than, and give you an opportunity during our interview process to really let us see the real you. And so just because you're 18, 19 years old, I know we've hired some pretty young people and have given them an opportunity because we see something in them that we think is going to be a really good fit for our organization. So I wouldn't say anything is a deterrent at all. I would say that it's really up to the individual, and you know, we're looking for all sorts of different type of people to come to our organization, and you know, we've hired people that are, you know, 19, 20 years old in the past that have had very little experience, but we see something in them. And again, why the reason that's important for us is because our goal is to hire somebody that we can bring into our organization that's going to be a good fit for our organization and good fit for what we're trying to do.
So one size does not fit all.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Courtney, let's take some more.
Yeah, we have a question specifically for Engineer Gamboa. Someone on YouTube would like to know, was it hard for you to leave a 25-year-long career to start a new one when you left the Forest Service to a municipal agency?
100%. As I was entering into the background, every day I sat down and I ran the numbers, you know, financially, pension, health benefits, the quality of life for myself and my family and my kids. And at the end of the day, every day that move was taking me to Ontario. So without a doubt, I spent a lot of time figuring out, strategizing, talking to my best friend, my wife, about is this the right thing to do? And here I am, and I can honestly say this is the best move for the Gamboa family.
That's so good. I'm stuck on that. It's such a hard decision too.
It was the right decision.
No, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it made it easy because it was right. But you know, as a mature adult, you've got to really look at that. Look
Yeah.
at those numbers and be confident with the decision you're making.
And I think by hard, I just meant some of the conversations you may have had to land there. But I mean, you're here today.
Oh, thank you very much.
So thankful that you've been able to add to this conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
Incredible. So let's take a few more questions.
Yeah, so we talked about young. Is there an age where you guys think that someone is too old? And we also have a question of someone who hadn't made it through their probationary period before. Is that someone that you'd let in? What are some pieces of advice you'd have for someone who kind of thinks that, you know, maybe they already had their chance?
So I'm hearing two parts to that one. Maybe age, and then I didn't make it through probation at a previous department. Okay.
I can hit the probation at the end of the thing, and then maybe someone else can hit the age one.
Yeah, about that. So I made that decision to leave at 44. You know, my heart was still young, is still young. I believe that the opportunity for me to have the chance to do the job was ready, and I was more than willing. You just have to dig deep within yourself and have that internal conversation. Does this age really affect my ability to do the job? And today, no. So I encourage you, if you feel that that may be a challenge, go for it. Get focused, get disciplined, get determined, and get yourself ready for this great opportunity.
Okay.
Don't let that age be a barrier.
Yeah, we've had other people come into our organization that have had other careers, you know, 20-year careers doing something else, have come into the Ontario Fire Department and have just added so much to our organization from their experience, what they brought, their maturity, and so again, there is no age requirement or you know, there's no upper level that we wouldn't consider, you know, and there's opportunities for a lot of people to come into our fire department. As far as the probationary thing, you know, again, that goes down to that individual circumstances. What was that circumstance? What happened? And I know for a fact, I've made the decision to hire people that were not successful at other organizations, and they've been tremendously successful at the Ontario Fire Department, because things happen for a reason, and people may not be a good fit somewhere. That doesn't mean they're not going to be a good fit for our organization. So just because someone wasn't successful somewhere else doesn't mean they're not going to be successful for us. I've had the opposite as well. I've had people that unfortunately haven't made it through our process. Again, that doesn't mean they're not going to be a great firefighter. It's just maybe sometimes it comes down to fit. So I would encourage anyone that's not been successful in the past to give it another shot. And I know it's disappointing, but give it another shot, see what works out.
Don't give up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think they call that dedication, commitment.
I don't know.
And frankly, a lifelong learner. I look at it as we have all made mistakes. We have all had a shortcoming here and there, and we've learned from it. And you know what? I think oftentimes that's really what it comes down to is that this unsuccessful probation is an experience. And I think oftentimes you will pull a lot from that experience, and the next opportunity you're provided, I would think most of the time they're far more successful because they've learned their shortcomings. So. Yeah, that's a philosophy of ours from a training perspective. I get the luxury of being the privilege to be the training chief right now, and that's certainly something that I constantly try to share. Is certainly when we bring folks into the organization as a new firefighter, we're learning, and there's a part of training is this assumption that you don't know how to do it. We are there to teach you first, right? And then guide you and help, mentor, and to see you be successful. So
you can't. You're gonna recruit our staff. You can't say you're gonna have our people try to become Ontario firefighters. Right. This is so good. Such a good conversation. And also, we want to thank you in the chat. We want to continue with the questions. We want to. I personally want to thank you for just pouring your your transparency, your vulnerability into your questions to even ask something like that. So Courtney, give us a few more questions.
I can tell there's a lot of excitement for this department. Yeah. Even so, not just working for you, do you guys have any volunteer opportunities? And also on top of that, will there be hiring seminars again in person? I'm guessing this is someone who has been in touch with you in the past.
We touch on the volunteer piece, and then you can take the other piece of that. So we have had a history of using volunteers in our department. What we're doing right now is kind of revamping that to look a little bit different. But I know after the first of the year, we're probably going to look at reworking that to something that's going to be a little bit different. But we certainly do have opportunities there to volunteer for our department.
Chief Greg, I'm going to expand about that a little bit. As a fire department, we're approximately 229 personnel, department-wide. Sworn firefighters, 186, I believe, are our current numbers. So I guess what I want to share is that, and I know we're here talking about firefighters, but there's a lot of opportunities within our organization that we cannot complete our mission without. And so for anybody out there listening that is unsure about the fire service, firefighter, I hope you continue to look into that and pursue it if it's for you. But if it's not, look into other opportunities. If you're just interested in the fire service, but maybe firefighting's not yours, there are other opportunities out there, and we would definitely encourage that because we need them all. So that's just another opportunity that's out there besides just volunteers.
I think in the video there was dispatch, there was fire prevention, and EMS director, and lots of different,
we think there's going to be other things that we're going to be looking to go. So to Mike's point, if maybe doing the firefighter perspective or the thing about being a firefighter there's so many different opportunities within the fire service that are in that. But I can tell you at the Ontario Fire Department, we look at that, every single one of those people that are in a support role, a dispatcher, fire prevention, they're part of our Ontario Fire Department family, and they are as important as a firefighter on a fire engine. And because at the end of the day, our mission is to go out and do public safety, but it takes a tremendous amount of people in the background to support that. So every single one of those people that do that are part of what we do, and we couldn't do that without them. So there's a tremendous amount of opportunities within our organization to be part of what we do at the Ontario Fire Department.
So I think there was a second part of that question. It was about the in-person seminars. So for the first time that I'm aware of, the Ontario Fire Department did some active recruiting out there. And as a part of that, we brought folks in to participate in seminars. We called these recruitment seminars, and it was really our opportunity to connect with folks that were interested in our opportunity. And we brought them into our training center, and we showed them our equipment, we showed them our tools. They had the opportunity to meet several of the firefighters. We gave them a PowerPoint, bragged about all of our opportunities, and just shared the information there. So that was a fun opportunity. We will definitely continue with them. They were hugely successful. We got a lot of great feedback. We had fun putting them on. So it's certainly something we will continue to do in the future as we gear up for our next recruitment.
Okay, so more open houses in the future. Yep. But for the person that's watching now, they've pulled over, they're listening, they're in their phone searching for, Ontario Fire. Where can they find you guys online?
Yeah, joinofd.org is our website. On there you can find a lot of the information that we're talking about today. So if maybe you missed something or you have a question, some answers may be on there. We also have an email that you can reach out with any questions that come up after this as well. Okay. But there's also an interest card that you can fill out. So we can stay in touch with you with any opportunities such as a recruitment seminar. We can get a hold of you, let you know when those dates are, so you can join our process within the next recruitment.
Okay, so joinofd.org.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And we'll make sure to say that again throughout, but it just seems like it's time right now. So this is good. Courtney, let's take a couple more questions.
Thank you. Yeah, I really like this next type of question. Martin from YouTube says, I understand the fire service is a brotherhood and sisterhood. Does your department have any extracurricular activities on or off duty to build teamwork?
Kickball league. No?
We do. We actually just had this past Tuesday a softball tournament. That's something that we try to do monthly.
Okay.
And there are firefighter Olympics and stuff where you get a lot of different departments that come together to play against each other throughout the United States, which is an awesome thing. There's always charitable golf events. There are family days that our department specifically puts on annually. So there are a lot of things that we try and do off duty together as well. This is a second family. You probably hear that term a lot, but that's important to us. We go to work, we work together, but we want to do stuff together off duty as well, and that's what makes this career special.
Okay, all right, lots of ways to get involved.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to touch on is I'm really proud of is we do have, we have a hockey team. We have different things. A lot of people think we're from Canada because we're Ontario, but we're not. However, we have a hockey team, but what's really cool about our department, I think, is something special. Is Local 1430, our union, just does an outstanding job working with the community. So there's opportunities to do those types of things. They're very active in the community, doing fundraisers, doing different types of things. So that's something that a lot of people get involved in as well. So that's a huge part of what we do at the Ontario Fire Department through that.
For the 18-year-olds watching, or maybe some of the younger audience members who hear the word union, they don't really know what that means. What does that mean? How does that work in the fire service? Just kind of.
One of you guys want to take that?
Neil? No?
No, I don't think I can speak to that to the specifics that you will deliver.
I'll touch on the union. So really having a union is it's about, first of all, it's about wages, benefits, and working conditions is the biggest part. And having that ability to speak as a union, they have a bargaining unit within the city of Ontario, and it's a sense of making sure that your job is protected and you have those rights that you can go with. And I could tell you, and I know we're probably going to touch on it a little bit later, but we have a great relationship with our union at Ontario Fire Department. Our labor management is I don't think second to none in the state, and we're very proud of that. But we're a very proud union shop in Ontario Fire Department. That's where every single one of us, I know Chief Waddell and I are no longer in the union, but that's where we came from. So, we have a fire management group that's a union as well, but we have Local 1430 as our firefighter union at our department.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for that. All right, well, Courtney, let's take one more question before we jump in and talk to you about what's it like in the day in the life of a firefighter.
Thank you. Yeah. gonna have to pick my favorite out of what's left right now. I like this one too. What's more favorable, having a 4-year degree or having miscellaneous certificates like your driver's license, explosive disposal, hazmat, etc.? And people are also kind of interested in does having your medic give you a higher chance of being hired? So kind of how do all those different certificates and educations really affect the way that you view people?
You know, I think I tried to answer that earlier from the standpoint of we don't think of them as points. It's not really a points-based system. They're all valuable. They really are. And so it's hard for me to say one is more valuable than the other because it's just not really, that's not true. That's not how we as an organization think, and that's not how we hire folks. Really what we're interested in is your character, your experiences, what you look forward to bringing to the organization, and I think really your core values. You know, we have a set of core values within our organization, and I think most folks have that from their upbringing, right? They were provided that by their, you know, their parents, family, whoever it was that raised them. And I think that in our interview process, we try to flesh that out because we want to really know you or them as an individual and what makes them tick. And if their core values, their personal core values, if those closely align with ours and as an organization, we know that's a recipe for success. And so I think that's really what we try to get to is, you know, you or them at a personal level to make sure that characteristics are going to match up, more so than licenses and credentials and that sort of thing.
Well, thank you, Courtney. So with that, we, and I actually have a question. So it sounds like it's really important to have, you know, a difference in opinion, a difference in thought, you know, maybe different experiences and different things like that. You guys really, really value, you know, people who bring in differences into the department and kind of how that plays out with the team of people that you create.
Yeah, I think perspective it provides a lot of benefits to the organization, and we look to capitalize on that and strengthen our team. So at the end of the day, you know, I came from a baseball background. We covered that. You know, we're building a team as an organization, and we're not looking for all one mold. We don't need all pitchers. We need some shortstops and a left fielder, and you know, and so that's really what I'm trying to share is. We're looking for a number of different qualities, and so bring what you have would be kind of my guidance, and continue to pursue all these different opportunities. Certainly start with CPR and first aid, but as soon as that's done, go to EMT school. And right after EMT school, if you're enjoying that, if you know, then get to paramedic school. And continue your associate's degree and your bachelor's degree, continue your various work experiences, whether that's in a trade or whether that's on an ambulance company, refining those skill sets. There's just a number of different careers, professions, jobs that you're going to be able to pull from and bring to the organization.
Okay.
I think one thing on that really quick is that one really unique aspect of the fire service, and I try to share this with a lot of people, is that you might have a background in, you know, in doing IT, or a background in, you know, working with carpentry, or a background in, you know, doing whatever your background is. The unique part about the fire service is you can bring those backgrounds, that diversity to the fire department, and after you spend some time with each other, you're on the same engine company or the same truck company, you start to share those skills and teach each other those skills. And I think that's the really unique part about the fire service in general, is that when you come in, the skill sets that you have, and when you leave in 30, 35 years, your skill sets are going to be completely different because the people that you get to hang out with have a tremendous amount of skills, and you get to work with each other. We work long days, you know, with each other and so on and so forth. So it's that opportunity to work together and learn some skills that you probably wouldn't get otherwise.
Okay. Any advice for folks watching for things that they should know before getting into the profession of firefighting? Any tips?
I think really just how to work well with others, how to be within a team and understand that dynamic, because like Chief had said, that's what we are. Whatever problem we're going to, we're there to work as a team to mitigate that issue and hopefully give somebody else a better day than when they first called us, right? So I think being able to work within that dynamic and work well with others, bring a good attitude with a smile every day, and you'll do great.
Okay. All right, good advice for sure, for sure. Definitely know how to work with people. And so also, so many people just in the chat, in the comments and things like that really are very, very interested in Ontario. When's the next time you'll be hiring? How can people go about preparing for that process?
So the beauty of this is time is on your side.
Yes, it is.
And that's what I want to make sure that we lead with is start now, and you have a little bit of time. We're just wrapping up a hiring process. So we did recruitment, we did the testing, we have a batch of individuals that are in the background, and that is for Station 11 that we spoke to. So our next process is approximately a year or so away. So there's time. And I hope that's not viewed as any kind of negative, because I view it as you have time on your hands to start studying, get some classes, get that first aid, CPR, EMT, and start looking into. So we talked a little bit about the FCTC written test. There is a test to get in to our organization, most of the fire service. And that test there's some challenging elements of it that some folks struggle with. And so they're basic skill sets, reading, writing, math, and some mechanical aptitude type questions. And so if you have a weakness there, the beauty of our position right now is you have some time to catch up. And so that would be what I would encourage folks to do is hurry up and take the FCTC for starters, and then that's going to uncover your weakness. And then once you realize where you have a weakness or a deficiency, if that exists, well, now you know what to focus on. And the beauty of our opportunity is you have some time on your hands. So
there we go. There we go.
Follow us on social. joinofd.org, and we'll see you in a year or so.
All right, all right. And your written test score is good for an entire year. Did you have something you want to add? Or?
Oh, no.
Okay. All right. So we would love to talk about, life as a firefighter and all of that. And so, Chief Geik, this question is for you. So talk to the audience and me a bit about just how does Ontario support employees? How does Ontario Fire support firefighters, long-term growth? You mentioned the union, and thank you for that explanation. But how does the union play a role in that as well?
Sure. I think, when you look at the city of Ontario, for starters, I've worked at other organizations prior to coming to Ontario, and I can tell you that the support that we get from our city council, our city manager, is I don't think second to none. It's just incredible, because they want to hire the best people we can for the city of Ontario, and that's going to come with, and to do that, people want good pay, good benefits, good support. If someone gets hurt, our city is there to support them. We don't have, when people get hurt, we want to make sure that they're going to come back to work and be healthy and be able to support their family. And that's a really important thing, not only from a fire department perspective, but from a city's perspective. And so that's one of the things that's, I think, maybe a bit more unique, working in some other places, is that the city very much is what I would consider as a public safety city, which means that they know that people are going to live and work and thrive in a city if it's safe. And that's what they really concentrate a lot of their efforts on. Now, when you look at it from a union standpoint and a management standpoint, I think we work incredibly well together to support our members. Again, we try to stay away from a shotgun approach from a lot of problems. We try to look at what the problem is, what the challenge is individually, and then we work together collaboratively to come up with a good solution. And that's not only within the fire department, but that's citywide as well.
Okay. All right. And so with that, we'd like to know, can someone still become a firefighter? Maybe if they're a little older, this is a career change for them, they have children, and that kind of thing. If that's the scenario, how should they go about the process, or any advice for anyone who's in all three of those categories, or maybe just one?
I think I can speak to that. First, take the advantages that we're laying out for you today, get focused and have those healthy conversations with your loved ones, and understanding that this is a commitment for you as well as your significant other, because going through this process is challenging, it's stressful. Your commitment is not only to the job on the clock, but it is off the clock, especially during your first year of probation. There's a lot of commitment for you to be successful. So again, I wouldn't really worry about your age. Have a good, strong family unity so they can support you when you have to be at work, and support you when you're at home still studying, because it is a lot of time to consume to be successful.
Okay, I love your story, because it's you know, just don't give up on your dreams. Just stick with it. Really continue.
Yeah, stay focused, and that's part of growing up in life. Like Chief Waddell explained, is you learn those skills and you put that into your DNA, and you're going to take that forward. And if you can be successful in one thing, you're going to be excited to take on that next challenge, because you were focused, you were disciplined, you were motivated.
For sure, for sure. So encouraging. Thank you. All right, so Courtney, we would love to come back to you, take a couple more questions before we go ahead and close out.
Thank you. Actually, you guys did so well answering everything. I think we've pretty much answered everything that people have come up with. If I did miss anybody's question, feel free to reach out to us at Becoming a Firefighter, or reach out to Ontario specifically. I did put the link to their website in the chat, so please check that out, fill out an interest card, and thank you very much to you guys. So back to you.
All right. Do we have any closing remarks from the team?
I just touch on a little something that Neil was talking about. Was, you know, one of the things that we've tried to do the last 10 years is start our own fire academy. And you know, there's departments out there that are large that have been doing their own fire academy for years and years, and we're, you know, a mid-sized fire department, and that's not as normal to have our own fire academy. And in our size department, I know there's departments out there that do have that. And one of the things that we really thought was important was exactly what you're talking about, as far as there's potential roadblocks for people to get into the fire department, right? Whether they think they're, you know, I can't stop working, I have a family, I have kids, I have all these other obligations that are really roadblocks. And what we're trying to do at our department by having our own fire academy, and simply, you know, you just need to have an EMT to come in and kind of lowering those barriers to entry. That's something that's really exciting for us, is that we're trying to open up this opportunity for more people with a diverse background, and people that may not have thought that that's attainable. And just really giving them that opportunity to say, hey, it is attainable, and we're going to remove some of those barriers to even, you know, get in and think about that. So I think that's an exciting time for us in the fire service, and we're really excited about that opportunity coming up in the future for us.
We're excited for you guys. We're excited for you guys. There's so many people in the chat. We're so excited for you guys, and that you've had this opportunity to watch today. Where can they go ahead, if we could mention that again, where can candidates go ahead and find you guys online, and how should they go about it? I think there's an interest card. And
Yep.
Okay.
You can find all that information on joinofd.org. It's a website specifically for our recruitment. So again, you can answer or find a lot of answers to questions that you may have after this. Find a lot of information about us and some opportunities that we have. If you do fill out that interest card, we will be in contact with you when we do have opportunities within our recruitment process.
All right.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow us on all the social media outlets as well.
You guys are on social media too?
We're out there, yeah. But again, I think we spoke about that. Chief Guyek, again, we're capitalizing on folks that have come to our organizations that have the skill set. And they've done a heck of a job for us, and we couldn't, you know, we're extremely thankful for that. JoinOFD.org, again, that was an internal firefighter that helped us build that. So
Okay. All right. Well, don't count yourself out. Lots of opportunity within Ontario Fire and the city in general. And I promise, I've been sitting here with them, so has our staff that you can't see. They are a very welcoming bunch, very fun bunch. It's been an absolute pleasure having each of you guys here today. We want to thank you guys for watching the episode. Come back and join us for the next RITS episode. We'll have a date soon with a different agency, and so we want to thank you so much for being here today. Make sure that you follow us on each of our platforms, and that's at Becoming a Firefighter. Thank you so much for being here, and peace out, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.